So this is my next home improvement project. I've decided to turn this dining room wall into a tongue and groove accent wall. And here are the tongue and groove boards. And the first step, what I'm going to have to do is remove the drywall so I can replace the drywall with 1/2-inch OSB, because if you were to try to nail these boards to drywall, if you had any bows or crowns in the boards that you wanted to try to take out, they would just pull right straight out of the drywall. The nails would, and it just wouldn't hold. So you got to replace the drywall with some plywood. I'm going to use 1/2-inch OSB, and that should be sufficient. I got 2 outlets to cut around. I got that one there, and there's one right there, so I'll have 2 outlets to deal with. I'm actually planning on tapping power off of that outlet, and I'm going to set a switch here, and that's going to control 2 wall sconces that I'm going to put up, and I'll show you those light fixtures here in just a second. So that's actually another good thing about opening the wall up like I'm going to do, is so that I'll have complete access to the electrical, and I'll be able to run the wires through the joists. On the back side of this wall is the bathroom, so there's probably going to be some plumbing and stuff in there too that down low. So, but that shouldn't be a problem, but we might see that. I've always wanted to do that. One of the first things I'm going to do to prep the wall is I'm going to take off this chair rail, and I've got this little baby pry bar here, and I'm just going to work this off of here and set it aside. I'll have to take that piece off too and retrim it. And naturally the quarter round and floor trim is going to have to come off. Okay, all the chair rail is off, the floor molding and trim is off, electrical cover plates are off. I am ready to start removing the drywall. One thing I wanted to point out is this corner here. I need to be extra careful. There is a metal corner bead that wraps this outside corner, and if I get too carried away and start breaking out this drywall and disturbing that corner bead, I could potentially damage my good side here that's nicely painted and textured and all that, so I don't want to create any extra work for myself. So I am going to be very careful and conscious of that. So we are ready to start removing the drywall. Well, I decided to start in this corner here and smash the hammer through a couple times right through here. That's why it's kind of jagged, and gave this a really good pull, and I exposed a PVC pipe there. It's probably the vent for the toilet, so we will be careful of that. Well, here's the drywall all ripped off. Got everything pretty much cleaned up, vacuumed up all the debris and bullshit. And yeah, a couple pipes. That's the sink on the other side of the wall for the bathroom, the drain, and vent stack for the toilet, and that just goes up through the roof. Everything's sealed up real good with that pink expandable foam there. That way you don't get differences in hot and cold through the seasons, and you get moisture, and then you get mold, and you got problems. And these are nail strike plates, so that when the drywallers come in, they don't murder your wires by putting a screw through it. That's a GFI on the bathroom side, and that's the bathroom light fixture. So I'm going to try to probably tap power off of that outlet. I'm going to set a switch somewhere in here. But I don't like how many wires are in that box. If you put one more in there, that to me that's just too much. So I'm going to identify which one of these two is the feed, dump that into my switch box, and then come back out of that and go back into that one there. So you still got the same amount of wires, just 3 going in it. So that won't be so bad. Then I got to do some measuring, figure out which of these stud spaces for the wall sconces, because I'll have to provide the wiring for that. So kind of got a little carried away right here, and the damn drywall tape, when it pulled, it took some of the wallpaper here that was supposed to stay, but I ended up saving 2 pieces here. And I'll end up peeling that off and literally gluing this on with some wood glue and then sponging it. And it should work out okay, just for that little sliver there. So, and then you can barely see it, but right in here, it kind of tore a little bit too, and I've already glued it back and kind of sponged it out a little bit. So you can't really see it. So, well, it's 9 o'clock at night here, so I'm going to call it a day and start fresh in the morning. We'll see ya. I have identified this outlet power circuit, and I shut off the breaker, and I'm going to now take this outlet apart, figure out which one of these two is the power feed, and I'm going to dump that into a switch box here. Come out of the switch box, refeed the outlet, then I'll have the same number of wires going in this box, and it won't be overcrowded. And now I've got both wires ripped out of the outlet box. That's one of them. And there's the other one. And I've determined that this one here is the feed. I went downstairs and re-energized the circuit. And that's our feed that's going to be going into the new light switch box. And one thing I wanted to mention, if you're home alone and working on electrical and you're trying to shut down an outlet circuit, plug something into the outlet that makes noise. I used a shop vac, and then when you go downstairs, if the breaker panel isn't marked very well as to what circuits go where, once you hit the right breaker, the shop vac will turn off and you'll know that you got the right one, and it'll save you a lot of trips of running up and down the stairs to check it. And for whenever I do Romex wire stripping, I prefer the Klein brand of strippers. They come with 14-2 and 12-2 plus 14 and 12 individual conductor strippers. And they always work pretty good. Kind of score it, peel it, and you're good to go. And these boxes are going to have to be bumped out a little bit more. If I was just putting half-inch OSB back on the wall, this would still be the same depth as what the drywall was, but I'm putting another 3/4 on top of that with the tongue and groove. So that means these boxes would be sunk into the wall by at least 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to loosen these up, move the nail forward, pound it back in, and we should be pretty close to the measurements that we need to make it flush with the tongue and groove. Right now we are just about 1 1/8 inches. I can't really move any more forward because the nail is going to end up missing the 2x4 there. So we're only about 1/8 inch shallow. So that's not too bad at all.